Hey, I'm Brian, this is Ned Griffin, and we're working on Continua Key. The basic idea behind this project is to take the basic idea of a MIDI keyboard and make it fully continuous. So instead of just focusing on a note on and a note off event, we use the entire up and down stroke of a key press as a continuous value. And the idea behind that is we can map that to a whole new range of expression and musical parameters. And I'll pass it off to Griffin to say what we want to do.
Yeah, we wanted to give the musician or the keyboard player more creative control over what they're trying to convey musically. And we found that a lot of traditional MIDI controllers utilize knobs and sliders and things that really are cool, but they make the performer take their hands off the instrument itself and reach for other things. And we said, well, we can use sensors to kind of take that step out and streamline the process in kind of a very kind of continuous and streamlined kind of way. So that's what we did with Continuity.
Yeah, and if you think of one use case where a musician's just improvising and a lot of their melody is done with their right hand quickly and they really don't have much brain power to do anything beyond just selecting which notes to play. So we kept the higher octave, just basic MIDI. And then the bottom octave is where you add in effects and you support your right hand, what it is playing. So on our bottom octave, we have our continuous sensors, and we added in some extra resistance, so you have to push down harder and harder to get the effect that you want, which makes it really interesting and satisfying from a physical interaction design perspective. So I guess on a hardware perspective, we had a lot of soldering to do.
Yeah. So with the actual hardware that drives this keyboard, the first thing that we did is we took a MIDI keyboard from an old Casio piano, because we wanted to stick with a traditional interface, something that people would be familiar with. And then we wanted to figure a way to continuously measure the position of the keys. And what we found is the easiest way to do this was use some IR optical reflection sensors. And from that, you basically measure the reflectance of the key when you're pressing it down, and the reflected light increases the further down it is. And so we can get very accurately the position of the key and how far it's down, how far it's pressed. We also actually took the switch circuitry that's already on the keyboard that we removed and did some reverse engineering, and we're able to pull out the note on signals from it. And so we can get these MIDI notes from our higher octave and combine that with the data that we were getting from these optical sensors. All of that information is being captured by an Arduino Mega just through its analog inputs. And then we actually, on there, we also calculate the derivatives of those signals, so we can actually get some velocity information of how fast you're pressing the key and send those back to the computer to be handled by MaxPatch.
Yep, so we have a huge and ugly max patch that does all of our processing. But from a signal perspective, it's actually pretty simple in terms of the reading that we get from this sensor is really just a change in voltage. So that analog voltage in is linear, and we can direct that directly to a position value. So we can take that position value and map it and configure it to a 1 to 127 value, which can be mapped to any MIDI CC value in really any DAW you're using. That could be Ableton, that could be Mainstage, that could be within Max if you want. And you could also then do further processing, obviously. What we did is basically allowed you to map it to 1 to 127, or invert it. You could also reset it back to 1 after you go all the way back up, so that you can do a bunch of different effects. And then with the slope value, with the derivative, you can also do cooler effects by going up and down really quickly, and then building sort of like a drop off and a decay, like a reverb, sort of, from your, like almost like a vibrato. And then from there, this is our max patch. And right now it has the bottom octave all mapped to these continuous values. So you can see the level of precision of just one key. And that works for, which is surprisingly accurate, really fun to look at too. And if you want to break this apart it gets a little ugly. We have a lot of inputs. But the idea is each of these values we can pass to a MIDI value if you want and change around the threshold where you want to trigger a note. But then change it to a MIDI CC value and pipe that wherever you want. Because at this point, then, we can open up, right now our DAW is main stage, which is a live performance engine, sort of like Logic. You can also use it with other DAWs if you want.
Like, these are different kind of macro effects that are laid out within this patch. And by like reading in the continuous values from the key press, it can change the kind of the selection of which effects are activated at certain times. So those can be mapped to like dry wet knobs. They can be mapped to reverb, delays, that kind of stuff. Really kind of depends on what the musician wants the patch to sound like.